Welcome back to the Evolving Hunter podcast. We're so excited that you are joining us for a new episode. I think it's going to be a really fun one. Very excited to have, really for me, the first time I've ever had more than one guest on at a time. So this is big news for the Evolving Hunter podcast. But we have the team from Beavers Unlimited, based out of Mississippi, joining us tonight to have a fun conversation about what they do with Beavers Unlimited, and we'll dive into all that later. But before I get ahead of myself, I want to give the Beavers Unlimited crew a chance to introduce yourself. So, where are you from? What do you do with Beavers Unlimited? Kind of whatever you think is right to kind of give yourself a proper introduction. Just have at it.
I'm Melanie. I live in Mississippi most of my life, kind of all over growing up, but this has been home for the last a long time. And what was the other question?
What do you do with Beavers Unlimited?
Oh yeah, I've been with Beavers Unlimited for almost 3 years.
Wow.
And I know, isn't that
That's
crazy?
crazy.
Almost 3 years. I started out beaver trapping, and now we do a little bit of everything.
I'm Lauren, kind of same as Melanie. I'm originally from Louisiana, but I live in Mississippi. And yeah, I've been with Beavers Unlimited for 3 years now. It's been a blast.
I'm Brian, on Beavers Unlimited, wildlife biologist. We do a little bit of everything: trapping, animal damage control, game species management, deer, turkey, habitat improvement, prescribed fire, a little bit of everything.
That is just a few things there. So how did Beavers Unlimited kind of come about for you, having this company?
So, I'm a wildlife biologist at my day job, and I work for the National Guard as their wildlife biologist. And when they hired me, military people are very direct and very black and white. And came by my desk one day, my boss did, and he said, "Frederick, I need you to go out to the airport and trap some beavers." Never trapped anything in my life. And I said, whatever gave you the impression that I knew anything about beaver trapping? And he, in true dry military fashion, said, "Well, yeah, you're a wildlife biologist. I mean, it's wildlife. Go figure it out." So they bought me some traps, and I got started. And it was a painful learning process, but what took me about 2 months to do now would probably take me 3 days to do, to clear out these beavers out of this problem area. They were flooding the parking lot by the airport. I came back to my boss and I said, "Hey, look, if you want me to do this, you need to send me somewhere to get trained." So I went to the Fur Takers of America Trappers College up in, I think it was Windsor, Indiana, I think, and spent a week drinking from a fire hose. The best of the best guys were up there. Coyotes, Gary Jepson, E.J. Kelly, Doug McKenzie. Doug ended up actually doing trapping work in Mississippi, so I was able to link up with him later on and kind of shadow him around with some of his jobs. I'd always had an interest in trapping, didn't know anybody that did it. And even as a little kid, I thought it was really cool that you could make an animal step in, a half inch or 1 square inch out of 1,000 acres, but was never around it. I was not an outdoors kid at all. I was the video game nerd, man.
Really?
Yep.
I would not have pictured that. That's new information.
Yeah.
So how long has Beavers Unlimited been doing its thing?
I started about 2014 and formed the LLC in 2015. As started the business side of it. Had another guy that helped me out who was already had a beaver trapping business, and kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. And it started out, obviously with the name Beavers Unlimited, it started out as just straight up beaver trapping. But as I gained access to these properties and landowners would find out, that I was a wildlife biologist, they would, "Hey, what do I need to do about moist soil management for my, my ducks in this particular duck hole?" Or, "Hey, can you age this deer job on for me?" Or, "What is this?" I get pictures constantly. What's going on? They'll send me a picture of a deer with, cutaneous fibromas, which are those little tumors, totally harmless, and you can still eat the deer, but I get those all the time. And it just evolved and grew.
So, do you get contacted to do trapping because they're nuisance animals, or is it largely as a part of a larger habitat management plan?
It's always nuisance.
Okay.
If they contact me on trapping, it's nuisance. They've got beavers that are flooding timber, cutting timber, flooding fields, plugging control structures or culverts or pipes or something. There's some sort of damage going on, or hogs rooting up their agricultural fields, or we get a lot of nest predator work. Both the girls do a lot of nest predator work: coons, possums, skunks, armadillos. Turkey hunting interest is on the rise, as you know. You were just at NWTF.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go because I can't be packed into a building with that many people. I'd break out in hives.
It's madness. The day I left, they were anticipating 100,000 people to be there.
It's incredible.
It's nuts, but it's a huge facility. To be fair, I mean, it's people everywhere, but
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah. So, Melanie and Lauren, did were y'all trapping before you came on with Beavers Unlimited, or did you kind of on the job learn those skills?
Yes, definitely on the job. Neither one of us were trapping in any capacity before we convinced this one to let us give it a go. But we are loving it.
Yep.
But no trapping experience before we came to work here.
Wow.
I mean,
So
he had to break it down for us.
Many times, a lot of repeating himself over and over and over, and eventually we got it. Not all, not completely all the way still, but
I mean, trapping is not known for being the most straightforward, easy thing to learn, right? It's often years of trial and error, of learning how to read sign, of learning how animals move. That's a lot to learn in a pretty brief amount of time. I'm curious. I mean, when, in that process, if you were talking to someone who was interested in getting into trapping, would you have advice for them as it relates to how to get started, or how to kind of, like, I guess, lessons from your days of being brand new and learning? That may be a big question, but
I would say get with people, like Melanie said before, like get with people who are trapping, branch out, find people, join these Facebook groups. There's tons of groups out there and resources, but I would definitely say do that and just, dip your feet in and get out there and do it.
There's a lot of good videos and tutorials on YouTube that, I mean, you could watch. But we know we were super blessed that we had somebody that was like, okay, girls, this is called a conibear. I mean, like, that's really where we started. This is what we use them for. And, this is the bridger number 2. Like, to have somebody that is going to invest the time that it takes, I mean, that's the blessing right there.
so is that, I know that you do this with Beavers Unlimited. You're spending your time doing trapping as a job. Do you trap outside of your job now? Is it something that's kind of grown into something you're interested in, or is this stuff that you do when you're
Oh
when
yeah,
you're
I
working?
pay them. Yeah, they don't work for free.
Working for you. Well, that wasn't what I was getting at, but I think has it become a hobby, or a I don't know if passion's a strong word, but something that you do
Absolutely.
outside of work at all?
No,
I mean,
we love it.
we're packed with work in our trapping, but it's
There you go.
also, something that we love.
Yeah.
So I also work for the National Guard. So Brian and I've worked in that professional setting for 9 years now. But I will tell you, since I've started trapping and since I've been out in the swamps and the woods and doing all the things, it's really hard for me to go sit in a cubicle at an office now. Like, I am just itching to be working outside. If I had to do it over again, I would definitely choose a career that would let me work outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brian, as being a wildlife biologist, how does that inform your trapping?
Well, I mean, other than the obvious, I'm constantly. Let me back up. I have been very fortunate to not be like a species biologist. Like I'm not just a deer guy or turkey guy or quail guy or whatever. My career actually started off with the state, and I was a non-game person, so I was kind of used to having to research and learn, the specifics of individual, animals, their niches, their habitats, their environments, their needs. But ultimately, it all comes back around to the same thing, right? Whether we're talking about, you know, adult onset or later in life hunters or later in life trappers, it's the same thing. I mean, you look for the same three things: food, water, shelter, and
Yeah.
how an animal utilizes that environment, space and arrangement. Trapping is not that different from hunting. It's really not. And I have given this speech to many, many, many hunter ed classes that I've taught to kids. Go out, learn to trap. Find somebody that traps. If you don't do anything but trap raccoons for nest predators for your turkeys, absolutely trapping has made me a better hunter, turkey and deer. I'm like you, Jay. I didn't grow up deer hunting. I went small game hunting a handful of times with my dad when I was little, squirrel hunting. But I didn't hunt. I was on video games, like I said. I was already a working biologist before I pulled the trigger on my first deer. I think I was 26 or 27. And absolutely trapping has made me a much better hunter.
That's so interesting you say that. I had a guest on recently, and we were talking about hunting, and the question, like kind of a big question, is if you were to give a piece of advice to a novice hunter to really kind of up their game, what would that be? And their answer was to start trapping,
Hands down.
get into trapping, just from
Hands
the
down.
idea of you're learning to read sign so much more effectively, learning how animals move, etc., just makes you such a better hunter. So it's great to have those themes kind of carry across even.
Well, if you think
for
about
sure.
it, if you're looking for a place to put up your ladder stand, you're going to look for those pinch points. You're going to look for those funnels. You're going to look for an area, something on that landscape that's going to concentrate whatever that game species is that you're trying to bag, right? And trapping is the same thing, except you're bringing it down to a 8 by 8 inch conibear or a 1 inch square, pan in your foothold trap. So it's the same principle. We constantly look at the weather. We constantly read the wind and looking at topography. I mean, it's all of the same skill set in hunting transfers directly to trapping.
Yeah, I had a chance to go to first school out in Idaho. This has been years ago now, but it really opened my eyes. I mean, I had taken a course called Trapping Matters with as an AFWA course, the Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies. I learned a little bit there, but first school was like a full week long deal, and I remember being so amazed because I'd never trapped or done anything in trapping up to that point, and how the instructor was talking about the way they would set up a trap. They can know, okay, this is going to be a front left foot, right? They're going to catch it by. And I'm like, how in the world can you know this is going to be that accurate, right? And this big 1,000 acres forest that we're in, that you're going to catch something by its, by its front foot right here. I was so amazed by that. And I think it really is a testament to the skill that trappers develop and being able to predict movement and create situations that really kind of funnel those animals in. It's I think that's absolutely, it blows my mind. It still does. I think it's
The
super cool.
two best, I think, in my opinion, outdoor activities that absolutely make you a just a better hunter. One is small game hunting. You pursue squirrels to the woods. You learn how to slip through the woods quietly. How to read topography, keep something between you and what you're pursuing. Just be stealthy. Trapping teaches you to read sign and utilize it a lot better. I mean, I think those two things are critical.
Yeah, like a new hunter's playbook there, right?
Exactly.
And that's something that we I think there's been a lot of effort on behalf of like the hunting industry, right, is to try to encourage novice hunters to get into small game hunting.
Mhm.
There's a little bit lower barrier of entry in some cases. There's, it's definitely longer seasons, so it's a little bit more accessible, etc. And it's not something that we've really talked about on this show a whole lot, the idea of getting into small game hunting. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. But for those folks who are saying, I'm interested in hunting, but I don't know where to start, small game hunting might be the place to start, right? And then maybe if you can find some resources on trapping, starting to build those skills. But I understand the mindset, right? Okay, I'm going to be a hunter, and then maybe you want to go out for some deer, right? Or you want to go that big game species. I get the mindset. And I was the same way, honestly. It never crossed my mind to get into small game hunting, but it's definitely a worthy cause if that's something that you're really wanting to. If hunting is something you really want to invest your time and energy into, to get involved in. So very cool. So I'm assuming, Melanie and Lauren, that you hunt as well as trap, or you just trappers?
So I actually started hunting probably about 5 years ago. I did not grow up. My dad wasn't a hunter or an outdoorsman. I had an uncle that would kill a deer when the family got together on Thanksgiving, and we'd watch them skin it. And he was a big hunter in our family. I knew that I loved to eat deer meat, but I was not a hunter. And about 5 years ago, I was kind of in an interesting place in my life. And I said, you know what? Instead of asking him to kill me a deer every year, I think I'm going to try to do this. And of course, I'm working with a bunch of guys that are hunters and they're talking about it. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to try it. So I went out, sat in a deer stand, and killed me a spike that very first time.
Hey,
And
first time out?
I absolutely loved it.
Man,
The time
lethal.
alone in the stand was wonderful, the seeing the different things, and then, of course, when I shot it and it went down, I was shaking so bad I couldn't even, pull myself together for a few minutes, but from that moment on, I was like, I love this, cook with the meat, and I don't understand the science behind it, but it tastes better when you kill it yourself. I don't know. So, yeah, I started deer hunting, and then a couple of years after I started deer hunting, I messed around and went turkey hunting, and I am a huge turkey hunting uh, fan. So it's very new to me. 5 years into the hunting, and 3 years into the trapping, I can so see how they work, alike. And I have not been doing it very long, but I cannot wait to get back out there. It's turkey season's almost here.
Yep.
I know he's tired of hearing me talk about it. Like, he's just got a turkey mount today from his turkey from last spring.
Yeah, he sent me a
I'm just
picture.
like,
Looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I walked in his office this morning. And I'm like, ooh, like, just fired up. That's what hunting does for me. It gives me something to look forward to, something to prepare for.
And we're going to drag Lauren to the turkey woods this year.
She's gonna get her first turkey this year. She can be doing some hunting.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It's funny you say about turkey. I don't feel like I've ever heard anyone say that they turkey hunt and they're just kind of into it, right? They're like, it's okay.
That's what I've
People
heard.
are just like
Oh man,
fired up
Obsessed.
about turkey hunting.
an obsession for sure.
Yeah, I think it just kind of has all the variables there, right? It's got the drama and the sound and talking to turkeys. It checks a lot of boxes. I think that really, I mean, to be fair, going back to NWTF, there's 100,000 people there on that Friday. There's a lot of folks that really like to hunt some turkeys.
Yes.
Definitely a testament for sure. So have you hunted deer before or anything else, Lauren?
I did some growing up, not a whole lot. I still don't now. I just feel like I get my fix with trapping for sure.
Sure.
Like I'm just always outside, killing critters. So I find fulfillment in that.
Lauren's a little bit of a mover.
That too.
She's in motion most of the time. So sitting on a deer stand which is why we're going to drag her to the turkey woods, right? Because it's a lot more exciting and, not sitting on a deer stand, not seeing anything for hours.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So you all do the trapping work, but there's also the habitat management side, right? So for someone who may not have really thought about habitat before, what does quote unquote good habitat actually mean or look like for having a healthy population of animals on a property?
Impossible to answer, Jay.
Oh man, see, I asked the impossible question.
Well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about deer, ducks, turkey, dove, quail? What are we
I
talking
know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So, all right, let's go with deer.
What do you think good deer habitat looks like?
How do you mean? Well, of course, they want a good source of food. They want a shelter, good understory. Is that what we call it? Yeah.
Okay. Good food, good shelter, understory. How do we get that?
Burning and hack and
Burn.
squirt.
What does hack and squirt do?
TSI. It allows it kills trees. That way sunlight can hit the floor for new growth.
I feel
Yeah,
like a
so
proud father right now.
I watched one of y'all's YouTube videos today on hack and squirt, right? And it looked like you were just chopping a slice into a tree and spraying some, I'm supposing, chemical into it. Is that to kill the tree and let it fall naturally? Is that the whole purpose of that?
Killing the undesirables, the sweet gums.
Got
Yeah,
ya.
so we go through pretty surgically. A lot of the landowners that we work for, and I'm proud that both of y'all answered that correctly. I feel like a proud papa. So we go through pretty surgically. A lot of our, not a lot, most of our clientele is either deer or turkey or both. It's very little quail. It's usually deer, turkey, a little bit of duck. But when we go through and do hack and squirt specifically, a lot of landowners are signed up for these NRCS programs, and so they're getting money to improve this habitat, put this conservation on the ground, but they don't really know how to go about doing it. And that's kind of what Beavers Unlimited does. Is we come in, they know that they've got money to introduce prescribed fire into their woods, their fields. Early successional habitat is big right now. How do I maintain that? And fire is the way. But most landowners don't know, other than hearing stories about Papaw burning off the back 40 or whatever. They don't know, how to go about doing it. So with things like hack and squirt, we go through and we'll, the difference with most landowners, they know what oak trees are, right? They don't necessarily know which ones are more desirable or less desirable, but they typically don't know much about soft mass producers like your black cherries, your red mulberries. I'm just speaking specifically for the Southeast. We only really work in Mississippi right now. But so we'll go through and we'll kill out the non-desirable stuff for their goals. And like when you asked what good habitat looks like, and I said you can't answer that question, but like Melanie said, we go through and we kill the sweet gums. There's a lot of non-game bird species like chickadees and tufted titmouse that utilize sweet gum seeds as some of their diet. So if we were managing for those non-game birds, then we wouldn't want to be killing the sweet gums. So that's why I was saying you can't really answer that question until you tell me what it is we're managing for. But
Yeah.
most of our clients, it's deer and turkey. So we'll go through, we'll kill out a lot of the shade tolerant hardwoods, your sweet gums, elms, maples, ash, things like that. And like Lauren said, she was exactly right. In the Southeast, really all you've got to do is get sunlight to the ground. And as soon as you get sunlight to the ground, all of your forbs are going to respond, and your brambles like your blackberries and things. Your good deer cover, good deer food.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think what I'm trying to get at is the idea of if someone were to go in the woods, right? They're scouting as a novice hunter, and they start looking for areas that may be better than others, right? From a habitat perspective, like what is it that they may be looking for? But it sounds like areas where sun can get to the foliage, and there's good food and good shelter, and all those things, still kind of translate into, even if you're not managing necessarily, you're just showing up and looking and scouting.
Well,
But those may be the things
regardless
we're
of
looking
what
for.
you're pursuing, life is the same three basic requirements: food, water, and shelter. And if you can find a place where those three things are pretty tight together, that's where you focus your scouting efforts. If you have a water source and a food source and a bedding cover, they're all a quarter mile from each other. That's probably not the area you want to be. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned your YouTube channel recently. I took a deep dive into your social media in preparation to get on this call with you all today. Sounds like y'all are really trying to. I mean, it looks like you do a lot with social media. You're really pushing. Is that to kind of get your name out there? Are you trying to educate other people? It's very entertaining. I enjoy the deep dive.
So
It's the hardest part of trapping.
it's
It's the hardest
it's the
part.
worst
You
part
all
of
heard
what
that.
we do.
Social media is the hardest part of trapping.
It really is.
It is the worst. Whether, and I won't name who is who, you'll just have to guess whether we don't like being on camera or whether we hate editing and hate putting video together, and some of us don't like the way we look on camera. It is a major undertaking.
It's
It
tough putting
started
yourself
off.
out there.
Do what?
It's tough putting yourself out there.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. And there's mean people out there, but
there can be.
overall, the response that we've gotten has been very positive. I mean, it's very positive. It's mostly other outdoor men and women. Hey, I see what you're doing. This is really cool. It did start off as just kind of a get the name out there, generate a little more business. I'm right at between 2.5 years retiring from the state, so Beavers Unlimited is going to be the full-time gig, and any kind of passive income you can get going. Shameless plug: Beavers Unlimited on YouTube. Subscribe. We need it.
This I'm giving the opportunity. It's not shameless. I'm opening the door. Run through it.
We
Yeah.
get so many views, but it's still just kind of creeping up. 6, 8, 10 subscribers a week. I mean, it's growing, and we're happy with it. It's obviously wish it would be much faster, but it did start off as just kind of recording what we were doing, and now I'm kind of leaning into the whole professional wildlife biologist thing and explaining some things why we do them and how we're doing them. And the girls have gotten a whole lot better with. They're both doers. They both just get in there and get the task done and get the camera out of my face, and I don't feel like being recorded today or whatever. And they're both have gotten a lot better at talking through the why. And that's generating a lot of interest. I've been pleasantly surprised.
Well, I'm a subscriber, so I'm one of those numbers there. So
You're one of the OGs. You've been there for a while.
I've been there for a minute. Yeah. Trying to.
Thank
So,
you.
So, if most of your trapping is nuisance animals, I feel like that opens the door for some like interesting calls from people or interesting animal interactions. Do those exist, right? Do you get folks calling you saying, "Hey, I have XYZ"? Like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is what I know about nuisance trapping is that people end up, trying to get things out of the yard or whatever the case may be that sometimes leads to interesting interactions. Is that the case?
Sometimes, and of course it's state specific because states put out on their list what species, and a species that's classified as a nuisance here may be a fur bearer in another state. So I can only speak to Mississippi, but I would say that the shock and the surprise comes when you roll up and there's stuff in your snares or your traps that you weren't anticipating.
I'm
like
sure.
Melanie had like a 5 or 6 skunk day here recently, and that's a shock.
That's a smelly day.
It's a lot of work too.
And that was in a foothold or snare?
Snares.
So they were dead when you got to them. Is that the case?
Not always.
Oh man, that's where the smelly part really comes into play.
Yeah, so you gotta get creative and try to get it through the lungs and stuff.
Yeah.
Dispatch correctly so that it's less stinky.
So you weren't intending to remove skunks; they were just bycatch.
Oh no.
I mean,
They're predators.
Nest predators. They eat turkey eggs.
So you were going after they were the target.
They were one of.
Not our favorite, but
Some
feel
landowners, like, they won't call you up and say, "Hey, I've got an armadillo problem." They'll say, "I want you to take everything's life out there that is a danger to my turkey poults."
Hmm.
And so Lauren's running, some coyote stuff right now, and um, pretty targeted on your larger predators, your bobcats, your foxes, and your coyotes. We do have jobs where literally, like I just said, they will everything that is a danger to their turkey taken out, and that's what we do.
w- how do you trap an armadillo? I've never heard any like I don't think there's BMPs out there on armadillo trapping. I
No,
could be wrong,
uh,
but
I mean, I could, you may not know this. I did my PhD on armadillo trapping, James.
okay,
So
I was unaware.
no PhD, no armadillo trapping. Um, you want to know what the best trap is for a armadillo
Yeah,
in Mississippi? It is a thermal scope on a 17 HMR at night.
oh, there you go. The quick moving trap.
Yep, yep.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But you can funnel them into conibears. You're familiar with body grips from first school.
Yeah,
You can funnel them into conibears.
really.
It depends on your state. In Mississippi, your body grips have to be at least partially in the water. You're not really allowed to trap with body grips on land, so
Yeah,
not a state that we could do it. But that was some of the stuff that I picked up from some of the trappers when I first started deep diving into everything. You'd be surprised how many people want you to come trap armadillos. Usually for digging in their yard, though.
yeah. Do y'all have that many armadillos in Mississippi?
Oh yeah,
Really?
oh yeah.
We'll see them every once in a while on the side of the road in South Carolina, but we don't see them a whole lot. But not nearly as much as it sounds like is there.
Yeah, you just about can't go anywhere and not see an armadillo hit on the side of the road.
Really? Hmm.
Mhm.
So what's you mentioned that you're not too far from retiring from your full-time gig,
Mhm.
and that Beavers Unlimited will become the new full-time situation. What do you see in the future of Beavers Unlimited? Growth or
Yeah, I got to
and
get rid of the girls and get somebody that's reliable. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. If you were to go in the field with us just one day, um, I would say the nobody can believe that they do what they do. Like it's believable, right? You've met me, you know me. It's
Mhm.
believable that I'll go out and get neck deep in a swamp, pulling dead beavers out or releasing alligators. Sometimes they come through conibears or whatever. But to see the girls do it, that's I won't say they don't look the part, but they don't look the part. Um, yes, that is the hope that it grows big enough to not just support me, but a team of people. There is a real need out there, not just from the wildlife biologist side, because our state agency has a lot of good young guys and girls coming up, a lot of good biologists, but the trapping is dying out.
Hmm.
And the fur market's gone. There used to be bounties on beavers. That's really not a thing anymore. You can still find some counties that have it, but none that we have worked in recently. But it's just like all of the old timers that know how to do these things are gone or or dying out. I hate to be graphic, but it's like this art slash skill that's disappearing quickly. It's much like you've worked in the hunter's education industry. It's the same thing as hunting. Like your method hunters, your true flintlock or longbow and recurve hunters that they made their bow themselves, and they're more concerned with how they pursue their quarry than they actually are about successfully harvesting an animal. How that's
Yeah,
dying out so fast. Trapping is very very similar,
yeah,
very similar. You got some good associations. We have one here in Mississippi. They're trying to keep it alive, but how many kids did you see at the NWTF? Right, a ton.
yeah.
Part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing on YouTube, you don't see a lot of trapping on YouTube. Now these kids are getting on social media and they're watching the turkey hunting shows, they're watching the deer hunting shows, and you get a lot of old heads that are griping, blah, 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 blah. They're making it too popular, yada, 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 get out of my
Yeah.
turkey woods, and barring the extreme exceptions like the few, Jake legs out there that are trying to make it look like it's a cool thing to do to, jump fences and trespass and that sort of thing. Barring them, it's never a bad thing to encourage the youth. I mean, that's the future of conservation, right? I say that over and over and over, whether we're talking about hunting or trapping or wildlife science, whatever it is. And trapping to me seems like it's under the biggest threat of disappearing. There's definitely a need out there. The need only grows as the trapping or trappers on the landscape disappear. You get the surplus of the nuisance species. You look out west at coyotes hopping fences and snagging people's cats and dogs. It's trappers are disappearing. So yeah, that's the ultimate plan.
When y'all trap, let's say you get coyotes or skunks, which I've heard recently what skunk prices have been up, right, from what they have been. Do y'all do things with the furs or the pelts, or just get the animals out and that's it?
With ADC, animal damage control, the problem is they are a nuisance or a
Yeah.
predator. So just getting rid of them, that's the goal, the job is to just get rid of them.
And
Yeah.
most of the time you're doing ADC work, you're going to be working year round. So you're going to be in the summertime too, when pelts are
Yeah.
not prime. They're
Not
working
as
up.
good.
You're right. Skunk essence is still on up there.
Yeah.
I will be glad to send every skunk to your house, Jay, and you can draw the skunk essence out.
My
Feel free.
my
I'm not doing
my
it.
wife and daughter might have some real strong words about that. But otherwise, I'm in. Let's do it. No, absolutely. Yeah.
We get that question a lot.
I imagine you do. Yeah.
That when most people don't know what ADC work is,
Mhm.
and it's a different approach to trapping. And where a fur trapper would come in and just kind of take the cream off the top and leave some for seed, we're paid to get that last beaver. We're paid to get that last coyote, that last bobcat, so on and so on and so forth, which sounds like bad conservation, right? Because conservation is the wise use of a renewable resource. You don't want to exterminate a species or whatever, but then you have to factor in what I just said earlier, where trappers are dying out and there's not anybody to step up and fill the role. There is a surplus. And we go back into a lot of my clients for Beavers Unlimited are not just like repeat customers, but they're people that I've been working for 10 years. It's that whatever their duck holes are at are going to be plugged by beavers every year. And the best explanation that I give to people is it's a lot like a really, really, really nice house. It's a very attractive piece of real estate. And although you remove the inhabitant, a really, really nice house is not going to stay vacant. Somebody's coming in and squat, the next season. So ADC work is a little bit different than fur trapping.
I imagine it is. Is there anything that is a critical part of what y'all do that I've kind of not asked about that you want to talk about, or and I guess what I'm trying to say, any questions I haven't asked you that I think would be beneficial to chat about?
Okay, so your target audience is newer hunters, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Took me 20 years to learn at the beginning of every season. Get yourself a pack of unscented baby wipes and throw in your deer vest, throw in your turkey vest. It will save you. It will pay for itself tenfold over. As you talk about the social media, Melanie, before we ever decided to do the social media thing, happened to record herself when she harvested her first bird, her first longbeard by herself. And so just on a whim last April, and this was kind of the spur that started the Beavers Unlimited social media presence. She threw this, how many seconds is it?
10 seconds at best, maybe even 7.
At tops, it's a 10-second clip of her standing on the neck of this big gobbler that she just got by herself. And she's hyperventilating.
Oh no.
And she posted that clip, and within an hour, I mean, I can't remember if it was like 35,000 views, 36,000 views is what it has. It just went boom, because people remember that reaction, right? I myself, I've only been turkey hunting. This is my 7th season. I've killed some good birds. I sent you that picture of that mount today. That's my best one to date. And that's the one that the video clip is on. If you looked at the YouTube, the really horrific video footage spliced together, that's that bird that's hanging from the limb. I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't planning on ever posting that. It was just for my own, personal memories. But
Sure.
There's that connection there that we picked up on with her. It's like, you know what? We might really should start, because you don't think about, you grew up in the South, you don't think about that there might be somebody, who knows, in Bronx, New York, that is in a concrete jungle,
Mhm.
who has interest in outdoor stuff. That would click on a 10-second clip of a lady having a, hyperventilating, having a panic attack or whatever that was, over her first bird. You don't think about things like that, but then when you see something take off, and like Lauren, every, coyote video that we post up, they can't believe that this, young, sweet looking girl, woman, she's a kid to me. She's like my daughter. Is out here, and you got this coyote, baring his teeth in the background. They're like, holy crap, this girl's really out here doing this thing. We just didn't realize that interest would be out there. And you've been a teacher. You know how it is when you find those people that really want to learn, like really, really want to learn.
Yeah.
You pour yourself into them. I mean, you really invest in them, especially when it comes to the outdoors and hunting and trapping, something that is declining at a alarming rate. It's I never imagined people would watch us kind of document this journey. Like they said earlier, they've been with me almost 3 years, and did not know anything. I mean, it was day one. This is a trap. Keep your hands out of here. Don't touch this. Very, very, very basic, very, very elementary type stuff. And I can't remember. I think it was Lauren. It was either Lauren or Melanie. One of them said something about passion earlier. They attack learning with this just voracious appetite that the only thing that I could say is I've taught a lot of people various things in the outdoors. In my 23-year career, I've taught trapping to a lot of people. I've taught gun safety and the all of the things. But I'll tell you honestly, and of course my sample size is very small. It's literally 2. My wife, so she was already an outdoors person and
Mhm.
know everything, but it is a very refreshing experience to not have an ego there. They don't take offense to anything. They look, when I break stuff down to like the most basic level, right? Here's a dirt hole set. This is your attraction for the dog to come in, the coyote to come in. He's not going to come from this backside because of this clump of grass or that log or whatever it is. We're going to make him work right here. We're going to make him step right here. And then when we shift over, and I'm not poking fun, but when we shift over to beaver trapping, it's the same principle. This dam break, this water running is your attraction. So we're going to funnel him into the trap. And it's like it's brand new information the first couple times they went out. I'm like, look, we just literally talked about this. The patience goes both ways. They're very patient with me because I'm not always gentle in my critique. I'm a man of science. I'm very black and white. I thought black and white. They say I'm very hard at times. But without the ego, the constructive criticism is it's never refuted. It's never, not taken. Like there's no ego with these two. So they have really just turned into some pretty competent trappers very, very quickly. You know, some of the guys that I have taught have done the same stuff. Not all of them are hard to teach or whatever, but you have experience teaching. You know what I'm talking about. There's people that are students, and there's people that you've got to beat over the head to get them to learn whatever it is you're trying to get across. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
You may be the world's best trapping instructor. We don't know, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So he was already a wildlife biologist when he started trapping, like he told
Yeah.
you earlier. We had zero experience, and you can tell, Brian, he's a natural outdoors person. He's a woodsman or has woodsman qualities and stuff. That is something Lauren and I do not have. So in addition to him trying to show us how to trap, he has to deal with where am I? And he'll say he's really good at reading maps. So he pulls up things on maps and he'll say, okay, I want y'all to go check this lake. The drainage should be at the northwest side of the lake. And we're looking at each other like right or left. Like we're not good with
What are the
directions.
surroundings? What does it look like?
I mean, we're so bad, like distance, like we can't tell any distance. So he's had to, really, really be patient with us while we're trying to figure out all the things, not just how to trap, but the trees, what kind of trees you have, and all the different things we have to learn to try to be somewhere where he was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Map reading skills are something we're still working on.
I mean, to be fair, it's the same boat that almost all novice hunters are in, right? Particularly those adult onset hunters that maybe didn't, grow up in, learning map reading or learning just general outdoor skills. There's a lot to learn all at once. You look at the data as it relates to the retention of hunters, right? Those who took hunter education but did not persist to buy a license, and we know that one of the top three things that they feel like holding them back is largely educational based, right? And one of those things is just general outdoor skills, right? Like what kind of boots should I wear? What how do I stay warm? All those things all kind of play into the factor of becoming a competent hunter, trapper, etc. So,
well, there's a lot of things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
Like knowing how to layer up or layer down that,
mm-hmm.
We might have learned as kids or even without hunting or trapping or anything like that, that I'm horrible about trying to anticipate what I might need to tell them to prepare for. That's been a little difficult.
Yeah, but it gives you great perspective on helping new hunters, new trappers, right? Because all that is a part of the whole experience, right? Learning how to hunt or trap is not just the tangible aiming your firearm and pulling a trigger. Right? There's
some tough lessons too. I'm pretty rough on them. Like I will force them out of a comfort zone, and I will force them to problem solve and get themselves out of predicaments. In the beginning, I would swoop in, save them, whatever. This is what you need to do. This is how you do it. Blah blah blah. But pushing the baby birds out of the nest, sometimes is met with some resistance.
I have anxiety about being lost in the woods because I didn't grow up around it and I'm really bad with directions and stuff. That really has worried me, and for good reason, because I'm really bad at it. So I was hog trapping in the Delta last May, and I actually had a couple of boys in our hog trap, and Brian says, Melanie, go take care of those hogs. And so I'm out there and not used to the Delta mud. My old four-wheeler did not handle it very well. and I got stuck. I'm out stuck in the mud by myself. Um, had to walk a ways to take care of the hogs, and then I had to walk myself out. And yes, I made the phone call thinking that Brian was going to say, "Hold still, I'll get somebody out there to find you," or, just take a break, I'll be there in a little bit. But he told me to walk to the truck.
I'm guessing
And
that's not what he
so
said.
I'm like gathering all my stuff off of the four wheeler, and like I had a battery charger, a gun, all this stuff. And I hike it all the way back to my truck. And it took me a while, and it was very humbling. And the next time we went to the Delta, we're pulling in, and I'll drive by where I should have turned off, and I would have cut probably a mile off of my hike back.
Mile and a half.
And I was so mad. I'm like, "Why did," and he's just like, he already knew, like, he saw me that day, and he was like, "Well, I mean, the truck's here, I'm here," and all I thought was to walk out the same way I drove in, not being smart enough to say, "Okay, here I am, the truck's here, walk straight." And so I walked a long ways out of the way. I was not real happy, but that's trapping, and it was a very valuable lesson for me. I'm less and I have less anxiety now about it because it's happened. Like, I feel like that's the worst thing that could have happened to me out there, and I survived it.
That's the positive spin, right? Experience is the best teacher you can have. As an educator, I spent, before I got into the hunter ed world, I spent really a career in outdoor education, but on the other side of the outdoor world, like the hiking, backpacking, rock climbing, kayaking side of the outdoor world, and I worked in higher ed and taught outdoor leadership, and as good a teacher as I could be, I could never beat, right, having someone go through a difficult experience or challenge or whatever the case may be, scenario in the outdoors, because they will learn that lesson 100-fold than if I told them.
They can tell you
answer is.
exactly what it is that I say. If a mistake doesn't cause you
Pain.
or cost you,
Money.
don't hunt them.
Yeah.
I hope it's a little bit painful for him to watch us struggle sometimes, even though, like he said, he's pushing us out of our comfort. It's not easy sometimes for him.
Well, honestly, you remind me, like in outdoor ed, we have this phrase, right, that as instructors, we let happen what's going to happen. And there's only two things we step in for. We step in for safety and education, right? If we can help a student to discover the learning in their experience in a more effective way, then we can step in. Or if they're about to kill themselves, we can step in. Otherwise, we just let it ride, right? And you end up with some really funny experiences because a very similar situation. Like I'm taking students into the field that, as you mentioned, they may have grew up in downtown, New York. And now I've got them on an 18-day backpacking trip where they are having to manage their entire, world in this new environment. And you end up with some pretty funny, interesting situations.
For the most part, I have never been in a situation where I was worried about their safety. They both have excellent gun handling, safety, practice. I never had to worry about any of that. For them, it's hydration. They won't drink water.
Hey, that's
so I had to threaten
big
them.
one. Yeah.
I told Lauren, if she falls out, I'm firing Melanie. Melanie, if she falls out, I'm firing Lauren. So neither one of them want to be the cause for the other to be fired. And that's how we've mitigated that. Because they will not. And it gets hot in Mississippi. I mean, it's
absolutely.
heat index of 105, and it's, rough.
I'm probably the worst one about that. Like, I need my snacks and water. And Lauren is kind of like my mama. When we go, Lauren and I trap a lot together, and she's got like her little lunch thing. Melanie, do you need a snack? And don't fall out
that's
on
a great
me.
partner
I
to
need
have
this
there.
job.
The person that brings the snacks, right?
That's
They're protected.
right.
Man, one of my favorite stories of working with new folks in the outdoors, when you go out on a trip, there's a series of lessons that have to happen pretty quickly, right? From like a personal needs, human needs perspective, right? They need to learn how to, what happens if they go away from the group and they get lost? What do they need to do, right? How do they use the bathroom, right? In the woods. All of those lessons kind of have to be hit, pretty quickly, because you never know, right? And I feel like I can give those speeches lessons in my sleep because we would do them so frequently. But we gave the lesson on going to the bathroom in the woods, which is always a funny topic, right? It's just something that's fun to talk about. I don't know why it's so funny, but and on this trip, because of where we were, it was all natural materials, if you get what I'm saying, right? There's no baby wipes, no toilet paper, nothing like that. And so we're going through the lesson about what are good natural materials to use, and we talk about moss being one that is like particularly effective. And we're probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 days in, right? We're well into this trip. And the students are joking about, going to the bathroom in the woods. And this one kid pipes up and he's like, moss is really great, but it's really hard to get the right angle. And we all stopped and thought, and we realized that he was just like a dog, right? Trying to get the right angle. Man, I'll never forget that. As his instructor, I really tried to, straight face it, but it was one that stuck with me for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're coming up on the hour mark. Anything else that you guys wanted to bring up or chat about? Otherwise, I'll wrap it up.
No, just please go to YouTube and search Beavers Unlimited, and you'll find us. Subscribe, like, comment, even if you hate what it is we're doing. Just tell us, hey, y'all are terrible.
And y'all are on Instagram as well?
Feedback.
So is it the same on Instagram, just Beavers Unlimited?
Beavers Unlimited. It's awesome. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We really want the YouTube, though.
Got it. Well, thank y'all so much for taking the time to sit down and have a chat with me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's thinking about getting into hunting or trapping, or maybe even someone who helped you get started. I'd also love to hear from you. If you have questions or comments, please send them in at community 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 at evolvinghunter.com. Any questions you send in, we'll answer them live, or I guess semi-live. This is a recorded podcast on the show, and our guests will get a chance to weigh in on their thoughts as well. And if you want to follow along, please make sure that you're subscribed to the Evolving Hunter podcast. We've got more conversations and hunting stories coming your way, along with practical conversations about skills, ethics, and what it takes to actually grow as a hunter. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and keep evolving.